like to tell you the tale of Orpheus. It is a Greek tale that comes from a long, long time ago. At one time, there was this man, his name was Orpheus, and he was a musician, and he was the greatest musician anyone had ever seen or heard, even to this day. He could play so well that the trees themselves would uproot themselves and follow him. He could play so well that the rivers would stop talking to themselves just so they could listen. Well, one day he met Eurydice, and she was as talented a singer as he was a musician. When she started singing, the cloud himself would come out, or the sun, the clouds themselves would move aside from the sun so that the sun could listen to her better. Anyway, the two of them together, they could play and sing so well that they could make spring occur faster than normal. They could make the plants grow just from the joy of hearing their music and her voice. So they were very, very happy. Well, unfortunately, one day Eurydice became ill. Sad. And unfortunately, no matter what anyone tried, she could not be saved. But this is not the end of the story. Orpheus was so sad by her passing that he would play his sad songs now instead of joyful songs. And it would rain and the weather would get colder and nothing would grow because he was just so sad, and it all came out in his music. The birds would fall silent simply from hearing him play, not from joy at listening to his music now, but from sorrow. So as all the world seemed to be crying along with him, he went to the temple of Apollo and said, "How can I win back my love?" And he was told that he would have to go into the underworld to rescue her from all the dead and try to find her spirit there. But he would only ever have one chance to do it. And to do that, first he must pass the river Charon, and he must also get past dog Cerberus, which is a great three-headed dog. And, well, he said, "I would do anything to get my love back because she was the greatest thing in my life, and I would do anything to get her back." So he went to the underworld, and first he had to charm Charon, who is kind of scary guy, but he's the one who is the first gatekeeper to protect the dead so that they won't be bothered by the living. Now, Charon listened to Orpheus playing his sad, sad songs, and it melted even his cold heart. So he permitted Orpheus to cross the river, and then Orpheus saw the three-headed dog, Cerberus. Now, Cerberus is at heart a dog. All dogs are good and loving, but they have a job to do. Well, Orpheus, instead of trying to melt his heart, because all dogs have good hearts, Orpheus sang him a lullaby. And Cerberus, for the first time in ever, fell asleep. And then Orpheus was able to sneak past, and he got into the underworld, and he saw all the spirits there, but he could not tell who Eurydice was, because they all looked the same. They were all sad and gray and just floating along there. So he went to the throne of the king and queen of the underworld, and there he played his songs. He played his songs of sorrow, and it melted the heart of the king of the underworld and his bride. So they said, "Okay, you may have one chance to get Eurydice back, but you have to make a promise. You can get her up to the world above again, and she will live with you for a full span of years. But the entire trip back, you may hold her hand, but you may never look back at her. If you break your promise, she will have to stay with us forever. So Orpheus said, yes, I will make this promise gladly, just to have my love back. So they called the spirit of Eurydice, and she took his hand, and her hand was cold and clammy, but he could not tell it was really her because all the shades of the underworld are just gray and sad looking. It did not look like his love, but he had hope in his heart, so he started up the long trail up to the world above again. As he approached the world above, doubts started coming into his mind. Is this really her? I can feel a cold hand in mine, but this is not the way her hand felt. I'm sure her hand felt differently. I'm sure her hand felt more slender or stronger. I'm sure of it. So as he's getting up to the world above, he's so close, he can start seeing some light coming in. And he says, okay, we're almost there, but I'm not sure it's her. I know I made a promise, but I'm not sure. So he looks back. And yes, it was Eurydice, but then she gets pulled back into the underworld, and the door he was going through closed, and he could not get back again. This is a story of Orpheus, an ancient Greek tale. Thank you for listening.